I welcome you all to the fourth meeting of Skillex, a knowledge sharing session. Firstly, I would request everyone to turn on their cameras and rename themselves to appropriate names so that we can have a more engaging and interactive session today. I would give you a minute time to do that. Thank you. My name is Ashish, and today we are back with the fourth session of Skillex, a capture memories. Learn basic photographic techniques. Photography is an art, application, and practice of creating durable images by recording light by the means of image sensors. In today's meeting, everyone would know how to capture the photograph, but a few of us really know the art or the technique behind capturing a photograph. Before starting the session, I would like to explain the flow of this meeting. So firstly, we have the presentation section where today's presenter, Puneet will be explaining various photographic techniques. After that, we have a Q&A session of about 10 minutes where the audience can ask questions to the presenter. The audience can also ping their questions directly to me in the chat option while in between the presentation. Finally, we have a 5-minute feedback section at the end of today's session. So I would like to invite today's presenter, who is a passionate photographer who also works in a corporate in Gurgaon. Without further ado, help me in welcoming Toastmaster Puneet over the virtual stage.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for the humble introduction for me. Welcome, people. Thank you for joining in today. And I know it is a Saturday afternoon. Maybe some of you have had lunch and a bit sleepy, but let's make sure this is an interactive session. Starting with the theme of the meeting, I would just like to mention before that we are here to discuss some basic picture or photograph taking techniques. We are not going to talk anything about specific about cameras, technicalities, lenses, opticals. We are only basically first talking about how to frame a picture properly or how to have a better picture with the existing devices that we have. Starting with our first slide, it would be two questions: why I am here and how do I know about photography. Why I'm here to share my knowledge about how we can click better pictures with the devices that we already have. And how do I know about photography? It is I self-learned. I accessed the internet. I met few photographers when I was in Haridwar. I was working in Haridwar, and from them I learned photography. It was a great journey, and I'm still learning it. In case whenever you have a question during the presentation, feel free to drop in your message either personally to Ashish, who is the moderator of our meeting today, or you can just type it in the chat box for everyone to see. We would be taking the questions towards the end and some questions in the middle of the slides too. Next, I have a few questions for you now. Why do we click pictures? One thing already mentioned by Ashish has been said, that we take pictures to capture moments which act as a return ticket to a moment which is otherwise past. Maybe we can look at the picture and we can relive that moment. How else you would explain the answer to this question of why do we click pictures? In case we can have some answers from the audience. Ashish, please see if we have any hand raises. If not, we can move forward. Okay, we have, I believe, from Tarun to post on social media. Yep, thank you. How do we click pictures? I would like people to answer this. How do we click pictures? Be in chat or you can raise hand. Ashish would be helping me to unmute you. Okay, two silent people. We have some answers. Naman says we click pictures by mobile. Very true. Even I also click most of my pictures from the mobile phone. Okay, again mobile. Arun says mobile plus DSLR. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the answers. Yes. Normally these days we have two major devices uh, to click pictures. One is the mobile phone and the second is the DSLR camera. Anything that has a camera is able to take pictures, and Suchita says we take pictures through our eyes as well. They remain in a memory and we can cherish it. Yeah, thank you Suchita for a great answer. Arpit says we take pictures to cherish memories. Very true, sir. Anything that has a camera can take a picture, and even if you search the internet, the cameras which we don't feel or which we don't consider as very much capable, we do have people taking artistic pictures with it. Two major cameras which we don't consider very good are CCTV cameras and webcams of, but still if you go on the internet and search, there are people who create artistic pictures. So anything that has a camera can be used to click pictures, and it's all upon us how we take the picture and what perspective we hold of the scene, and then we take it. The last question of this slide would be, what ruins a shot like nothing else? क्या ऐसी चीज है जो एक पिक्चर को सबसे अच्छे तरीके से बिगाड़ सकती है? We have any answers? Okay. Vinay says defocus. Very close, very close. Yeah, a bit more technical term, defocus, but yeah, I want the improper lightning. Arun says light. Yadvinder says angle. They are very much valid reasons to ruin a photo. However, one thing that comes to it is not clicking on the object. As it says, even if you click on the object and then still the picture has that, I would like to give you an hint. Any hint from the picture? We have it on the object. We have the object in frame. We have the angle correct. The light is correct. What would the answer be? What ruins a shot like nothing else? Yeah, right. Keshav, Yadvinder, Shruti. Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's blur. And Ravi in the chat says China phone ruins a picture. No, Ravi, it's we do have China phones which are good, which have good cameras. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Yadvinder, for the answers. Yes, it is blur. So first tip for today is, whenever you take a picture, make sure that you have a steady hand, the camera is steady, the device is steady, and you are having a balanced posture. Otherwise, if you have an imbalanced posture or an unstable posture, you may tend to, while clicking the picture, you may tend to fall towards one side or sway toward one side. So first tip for today, don't let your picture be blurred. So for that, we only need to hold our camera still. One small bonus tip here is, whenever you are clicking the picture, be it on a camera or a DSLR lens, DSLR camera, just make sure that at the moment when you click the shutter button, you just hold your breath for that 1 or 2 seconds. That would be great, and that will help you to not have blur in your pictures. This picture which has blur, this could have been a picture like this, but blur ruined it, right? So today we are here to learn the basic composition techniques. As I said, no technicalities of photo, camera, or anything like aperture, like heavy terms, we would be starting with composition. Composition of a picture is, sorry, composition of a picture is, what the picture is made of, how it is made of, what all is there in the picture, where it is positioned, how it is taken, or the angle it is at. That would be all for today. And we have total six rules here, and we would go one by one on it. We'll also see examples, and we'll also ask for your feedback. Whenever you raise your hand or you want to give feedback, raise your hand, and the moderator would be unmuting you. And we request, whenever you are answering question, please make sure you have your camera on. So going forward with our first technique today, that I believe somebody also said in the chat, that says the rule of thirds. Normally, if we see, we have pictures in rectangles, or we have pictures in squares too, like on Instagram, very common format. So basically the rule of thirds stand for two lines horizontal, two lines vertical. They make nine sections in your whole frame, and you have your object center at four intersection points or around them. If you see, this would be the four lines, and these four will be the points, right? Even if we see, we to an extent, even the background, the lens photo that is there in the background, it is around that one of those 4 points. Either you can use more than 1 point or just use 1 point for your picture. Taking an example of it, if you see this picture, this is a picture of a temple in Rajasthan. And if you see, it is a bit not in, the temple is not in center. The photo has been taken from an angle, and the photo is towards the lower left corner. But if we see by the rule of thirds, the photo composition is more or less correct, right? So this would stand like, normally it would be very subtle, but when you try to imagine those four lines, and then it would be very much clear. Okay, that's why this picture looks a bit better than having this temple in the center. Another picture we can see, this is a architectural shot. If we see something of an animal, if you see, the whole picture is composed of many colors, the body of the camel, the shade of the sand, the shadows, the light from the sun. But the main thing that completes the picture is the head of the camel. If we have a camel's body without the head, it won't look complete, right? And if we have the head, that is the focus, that will help us complete that picture and make it a bit fuller and complete. So if we now see whether it is following the rule of thirds, more or less yes. So what happens is, if you have the rule of thirds, normally it would be in asymmetrical objects, or when you are clicking a photograph from an angle of a symmetrical object, which makes it unsymmetrical. So it would be having a focus. It would be having a main subject, and there would be some background. If you see, the background is the sand, the background is the people standing, even a part of the camel's body is also part of the background, which is not in focus. Any questions we have for this? So, no. Okay. Thank you. Second, coming to the second one, is leading lines. I would like to give this question to the audience, like, what would this mean? Like, leading lines. Quickly, if somebody can type it in the chat box or just mention, give a hand raise. Ashish, please help me. If somebody raises their hand, please unmute them. Okay. Okay. Mr. Vinay says subject is placed where all the lines lead. Mr. Naveen, you will be coming to a recap. We will be explaining all the other 6 rules again towards the end. Cool. Very true, Mr. Vinay. Thank you for this. If we take this picture, we have few lines going in the picture, and it leads to somewhere. At times there can be an object at the end of the lines. At times there can't be an object. The picture is just composed of the lines. If you see here, we have three major leading lines in this and one a bit subtle one that is not a straight line. So if you see the yellow line, the white line, and the boundary of the asphalt road, they are the leading lines in this picture. So this would give, a sense of distance, sense of travel. Whenever we go on road trips, we often click pictures like these, right? So this will lead you into the picture, lead you into something of a perspective of photographer. And if you see subtly towards the extreme right of the picture in the middle, we have the line of the mountains also leading in the same direction, even if it is not straight, but it does look very natural. Any questions in this? Feel free to. I'm checking the chat continuously. Okay, we have a question from Bhavna. What is the best position for such a pic? Standing up or sitting down? Normally, leading lines for a leading line for leading lines, you need to have focus that should be on a larger area, not on a smaller one like we have in macro shots or we have in portraits. So for a focus at a larger area, we need to have our hands still. We need to have our frame still. So it would be advisable if you sit down. In case you can't sit down because it's a road, there can be insects, there can be animals around. Uh, so you can just stand and use a tripod. At times, we don't have a tripod. So just make sure you support your device with one hand and then click with the other. Another bonus tip here is hold the camera, just put a 1 second of timer here. And when you click, the phone will shake or the camera will shake. And when you hold it steady, after a second, it will click a picture. It will be a better shot there. Any more questions on this? Okay. Next one is symmetry. Very, very normal. Just coming to the question for last picture, Shruti asks, does every pic has leading lines? Shruti, not very sure, but I don't think every picture can have this. Normally, when you get too close to a subject, it may have leading lines, it may not have. Normally in portrait pictures, we don't have any leading lines because there are not very straight lines in portrait pictures like of pet photos or portrait photos of humans. So we need to find it as per the frame. It would depend upon the subjects that you choose and the objects that you choose or the background that you choose. It can happen that in the same photo you see the rule of thirds, you see the rule of leading lines, and then you see symmetry as well. Coming to the next one, it's symmetry. Symmetry is the simplest and the best way to click pictures of architecture, buildings, at times humans, at times pets. Because normally, if we see humans and pets or most animals are symmetrical at a certain axis, either it's the vertical axis or the horizontal axis. Architecture is the best one to take an example in this. If you see the picture on the screen, you see the white line. This is not the part of the picture. This is just for reference that, okay, this picture is more or less symmetrical. And this helps us to have detail in the picture. It gets us to tell the viewer that, okay, this is the picture and this is the object, the main object. If you see at first glance, we would not pay attention to that. Okay, there are one side of the monument there is a depression, the other side it's plain as per the level of the road leading to the shrine. But normally we will only focus, okay, this is the main building, this is the symmetry. And then we look closely, okay, we have different heights of mountains and background is different for every part of the picture. So this helps to bring the viewer's attention to particular subject. This these photos can fill the whole frame, like in this picture. It can take a smaller frame as well. Normally, if you see pictures of balls or crystal balls, when they are advertised on e-commerce websites, they are normally kept in the center, and it is like nothing else there in the picture. it's symmetrical. So that grabs our attention. Another example of symmetry can be a bit closer. When you get closer to the object, only a part of the picture is symmetrical. If we see the background, it's not symmetrical at all, but the main object is symmetrical on both sides of the axis. Any questions we have on this? The white line is not the part of the picture. Be cool. Thank you. Next is framing. This is a bit subtler one, but it adds to the background of the picture. As in, if there is a rectangle, maybe a circle, we often see pictures from holiday homes, people sitting inside a windowsill and clicking a picture, people standing in front of doors of forts or palaces, which they visit. So this adds to it, right? The background. And if and anytime you see that somebody goes and asks, okay, click a picture of me in front of this door of this palace, the photographer would normally say, stand in the middle. That adds to it. Okay, like be in the center of the frame, that is in your background. So one small example, this is a bit grainy picture. If you see in this picture, nothing special with this, just that the background framed this human into this picture. Other than that, this picture is very normal. This picture is like just going on a walk on an evening and just clicking a picture of your friend. So this is a subtle one. This adds to the picture. This adds, it it adds to the detail of the picture and helps you make them their display pictures. This one is the fifth one, the pattern and texture. The very common example of pattern and texture is when you see picture of foods, when you take the pictures getting so close to the object, or when you see macro photos, as in there are droplets of water on glass and you get close and click a picture. So, and at times there would be texture. It can be cloth texture or dust texture, or at a microscopic level, people do click pictures of surface of coronavirus. If you see its surface is like having tentacles or having thorns, something like this. So that is the texture photography. But coronavirus pictures are not taken pictures; they are made pictures. They are digitally made. If you see this picture, this example, and this nothing special, it's just a close-up picture of a rock, just that on the top side of the picture, the glazed surface of the rock, that adds to it, that is reflecting a lot of light, and the only other thing that adds to the picture is this droplet, right? Any questions till now? We have covered 2 slides. Okay. Normally when we want to have a picture of a surface or some texture, we do need to get close to the subject. At times you can have it away if you have from far away, if you have a zoom lens or your phone supports 20x zoom like many phones these days. However, if you get too close to the object, just make sure it is in the focus, still in the focus. We do have some uh, focus focus limitations for all our phones, for all our cameras. So just make sure it is in the focus. There is no blur in that. Omkarji asks, how can we highlight the background? Omkarji, if we talk about the current tip that how to hide the background in the pattern and textures, the first thing to do it through the camera would be to have them in proper focus and make sure that the light is correct. If not, use flash. If that is also not possible, use an external light source. If possible, some specific lamp, and these days we do have lamps that fit onto your phone and help you with lighting. And in general, if you want to highlight the background, just make sure you follow the fifth point. Fifth point, if you see, this is a pattern. Sorry, this is not the fifth point. This is another example of a pattern. The previous one was texture. This is a pattern. This is a very close-up picture of, many of you must have heard Hawa Mahal in Jaipur. This is a picture from that. We see some jharoka, some windows there, and This is like getting close, finding a pattern and clicking a picture. Finding a pattern in a picture is normally like finding repetitions, as in like something happening more than twice in the same frame. So that will be termed as a pattern. Okay, this is the basic of any photo. That is, we should have light, we should have dark, that is, we should have some contrast. These days, if you see in editing, you see in screen quality, screen specifications, they mention how much contrast it can handle, how much contrast you can set. That also depends how you view the picture correctly. So when you're clicking the picture, it also depends how much light or how much dark you have in the frame or in the perspective that you're holding in your camera. Example to it, it will be more clear with that, is if you see this picture closely, at the center of the picture, there is a statue of Buddha. I hope it is visible, right? And what makes this picture a bit with depth is the contrast of the contrast of Buddha's picture as per the objects around. The only thing, if all of the objects were black, this picture would have been very much boring and nothing very pleasing. Even though, still it makes the picture, that is the contrast, nothing else. Going on to the next, in this picture we see that our proper subject or the proper object of the picture is in dark. The other things are in light. The next picture, our main subject is in light and the background is in the dark. If you see at the bottom of the screen, this is the true color of these leaves. However, due to the low lighting during the evening, when this picture was taken, white color reflected a lot of light, and we were able to take this picture with a dark background of dark leaves, dark green leaves, and making this flower stand out of the frame. And even this picture more or less follows the rule of thirds also. So that's why it acts as a great wallpaper for my laptop. Any questions in this light and dark contrast? Because this was our last point, we would be moving on to recap. Okay, Ashish, we have any hand raises maybe?
Not right now.
No.
Anyone who wants to ask can raise their virtual hand. We will be unmuting them.
Cool. Intelligent people, right? Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. We have a question in the chat box.
No, sorry.
We have a question in the chat box by Ravi.
Okay, just a second. Ravi asks, please explain career possibilities in photography. Career possibilities, Ravi, it can help you with taking like portrait photography, do portrait photography, click landscapes, and do a lot of things. There are a lot of career possibilities in this. You can become a trainer, you can become a fashion photographer, you can become a photographer with the government of India. Not these days, but till recently, government of India was looking for freelancer photographers to click pictures of monuments. They were looking for people who can travel more than 15 places in next few years and click pictures for the tourism industry, so that it adds to the details, and every time a photographer clicks picture, that's their own perspective, so they were valuing creativity. Other things, these days we have wedding photography, we have baby photography, we have pre-wedding, post-wedding, pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and a lot many opportunities for photography. You can see a lot many career advices on YouTube, or we do have a lot of courses online. Otherwise we can discuss it offline too. Next question comes, Suchita asks, how do we decide which picture should have what background, bright or dark? Suchita, a rule of thumb, I would say, whenever we have a bright object, have a dark background. or have contrasting backgrounds. If you see, today I just made sure to have a white shirt, so because it contrasts with my black beard, more or less to an extent black beard. So it has a contrast. Otherwise, if I wear a dark t-shirt, it would be not very, my face won't have a proper outline on the video chart. So just make sure we have, when it's a light object, have a dark background. In case there are times you can't change the background, just make sure that if you're closer to the object, use flash. If you're not closer to the object, just make sure there is some more light on the object. It can be your another phone with a flash, or can be a supplementary lighting, or just make sure that the reflection of light is there. Because now, even if we want to click pictures in the dark, photographers, what they do is they take help of light reflected from other objects. So they'll hold a white screen and direct the light or something like this. But if you see mobile photography, uh, just make sure either you are in front of a contrasting background, or you have a reflective surface in front of you.
Next, we have a question from Arpit. In the Buddha photograph, the background is bright, but Buddha lighting is not proper. Is that a perfect photograph?
Arpit, I would say this can be a bit perspective and subjective too, but I also don't think that is a perfect photograph. It could have been better with some more details, a bit more light on the Buddha. However, it was just an example to take for contrast and brightness. And normally, if you see, having a perfect photograph, it would be very much dependent upon perspective or opinions. Uh, I am very much fond of taking, if you see, taking just an example, I'm very much fond of taking dark pictures at times. So for me, it can be perfect, maybe not for you, but I do say that is not a perfect picture. But still, just for an example, for contrast, it was a good one to have, the other objects or the other subjects that are not the main theme of the picture. They are light, and the main object is dark. I
Next, we have the question from Naman. How how to blur the background so that the main object is highlighted?
Yeah. Uh, Naman, a very good question, I would say. These days, if you see portrait mode in cameras or on phones or tablets, it is very easy to do this, blur the background. In case you don't want to use that, even in pro mode in your camera that you can have, or even with DSLRs, when you're taking a portrait, when the object is in perfect focus, there'll be a natural blur in the photograph. If you see why it will happen, it will happen because our cameras or phones can't focus on multiple objects at the same time like our eyes. So there would be a slight blur. In case you're not satisfied with that blur, you can go for some editing. I personally, I don't say anything against that you shouldn't edit or not, because editing pictures does make them a lot detailed and a lot clean. And what is believed is any picture that you click can tell a story. So go for editing in case you want more blur. Otherwise, just make sure the object is in proper focus, and you will have some natural blur for the background or the side objects on the side.
Next question is from Yadwinder. What is the best angle for clicking selfies?
Yeah, Yadvinder, just wait a moment. We'll be coming to it. Next we can have.
Next, we have from Pervez. Many times the pic becomes dark when it is taken in sun. So, what is the solution to it?
Yes. When the picture is taken in sun, it becomes dark. Normally, this happens when either we are standing in the wrong direction of light, or even if you see it not in sun, even indoors, it will become dark only when we are not standing in the direction of light. Like, as in, if I have this camera, this phone as camera, and the light is coming from my front, this should be the position I should take, or the person should take. Otherwise, if I take the photo from this side and I stand that side, and the direction of light is incorrect from my back, from the object's back, it will become dark. that is also at times taken into consideration to have, silhouette photography, or purposefully make the photograph a bit darker or the object a bit darker. Yeah, I believe Ashish Batra we have. Uh,
Yeah.
Ashish Batra.
Ashish says, can you tell me a little bit about how to take better pictures from out mobile phones when light is not enough? That is, using flashlights or night photography.
Yes, Ashish, this is a very great question. Normally these days we do have Pro mode too in mobile phone. I am a fan of it because the mobile phone is light and you can control everything with it. How to do it for night photography? Flash is a very good option, but whenever you are using flash, just make sure when you tap on the viewfinder, or when you tap on the picture that is visible on screen, so that flash flashes once, takes into focus the object, and only then click the picture. Don't straight away point the camera at the object and click the picture. This would take time first. Second, maybe the autofocus of the camera cannot pick the proper focus when the flash is on and then it captures. Just make sure you click it once, flash switches itself on, the camera takes into focus, and then press the shutter button completely. Night photography, uh, with Pro mode, you can also control the shutter speeds. Shutter speeds as in like for how much time the photo would be taken, so that a lot of light gets into the camera.
Next, we have a question from Suchita. If I need to take a picture of floor in a room that has light all around, is there a way to get rid of?
My shadow. Uh, yes, there is, but this would very much be dependent upon like what is the area you want to capture. If you just want to capture for a small area, just make sure the light is not from your back, like otherwise your shadow would be in front of you. If you have your shadow behind you, then that would also be a challenge because the light would be coming from the front, and that would reflect, and the floor would reflect a lot of light when you take the picture. So prefer if you can have it sideways, or just get too close to the floor, as in if this is the floor, don't take it like this because a lot of light would be reflecting like this. Just sit down, have the camera very much close to the surface, so very much parallel to the uh, surface of the floor, and then take the picture. However, it also depends on what is the need. Maybe you want to see the texture, or maybe you want to see the the shade of it. It would depend like how to set what angle to use. Okay.
Next question is from Ruchi Bansal. Do you think editing is a good idea? Because I feel taking picture is to capture the moment or subject as it appears in the right conditions.
Ruchi, I would say yes. I do think editing is a good idea, but I would not say that it is not correct to support your statement too, that taking a picture is to capture the moment. For sure, that is. But I would say whenever we edit, we do have two copies to it. One the original one the edited one, so that we do know, okay, how it originally was and where we took it. Editing, to an extent, I believe it's okay to do, so that it adds details, it tells you the story a bit better. And truth to be told, a lot of photographers edit, even on Instagram. If you see zero filters and no editing, that is a lot of editing that goes into it. But yeah, these days cameras are so good, so well programmed in smartphones, be it a normal budget smartphone or a flagship smartphone. They are well programmed, so I don't think these days a lot of editing needs to be done for normal pictures.
Okay,
Okay.
another question comes from Ashish Shah.
Uh,
Hi, any?
Ashish, just I
Yeah,
would just pause you here. Let's complete one more bonus point here. We'll come back to the questions. Cool. So that other people can also type in the questions. Would that be okay?
yeah, sure.
Sure. Okay. Our next step is clicking selfies. First thing, thank you, Advinder, for asking the question. And clicking selfies. It is as easy as it sounds like, and it is as complex as it is. See, I have made a very small 5 pointers to it. I don't have any examples to it. In case you want to share any examples, feel free to do it towards the end of the session. We would be glad to see your selfies. It depends on 5 major things, how we click selfies. Oh, sorry. Okay. It is these 5. How you look into the camera. Normally, when you uh, hold your camera and you look into it like in the downwards direction, it is normally considered as a bit, a bit serious, a bit angry and aggressive. So when if you want to take cheerful selfies, just make sure either you have your camera at your eye level or a bit above. A lot of common selfie styles are when you have 2 to 3 people in the group, they'll raise the camera and they'll then take the selfie. It helps to, you know smile better, look your face better, look your jawlines better, the normal things that we look in for a selfie. Next is how you align your head. The most common way to take selfies is holding the camera in front of you and taking the picture. Too mainstream, it can look like a passport size photograph. My suggestion here would be just align your head towards the bit side and pull the camera that side. And this is the second and the third thing combined, that hold your camera towards one side and align your head not close to your body, not very close to your shoulders. Just stretch your neck a bit longer so that your neck looks a bit longer and you have a better face. Next is stiffness in your posture. This is a point for fashion photography, portrait photography as well. The object shouldn't be very stiff. They shouldn't be very much stiff, and like as an if you stand stiff, it will be very natural that it's a fake picture. Just look natural. When you're clicking a selfie or somebody is clicking your picture, just make sure that you exhale at that moment, and then they click your picture. And it takes some practice, but I believe most of us has mastered it. The last one is the most common. That is the sun thing that Parvez ji mentioned. That what is the position of the source of light, from where the light is coming from. At times we do ruin our selfies that we stand at the wrong side of the light or stand on the wrong side of the source of light. So make sure that light reflects off your face and then goes into the camera rather than directly entering it. If the light directly enters into the camera or the source of light is just behind you, it would just make your photo darker. If you want a picture like that, great, that is a great position. If you want a great picture, if you want light on your face, light on your clothes, light on the people with whom you are clicking selfie, just make sure the source of light is in front of you. Okay, now we can come on this. Ashish, we can go forward with the questions.
Yeah, so the another question is from Ashish Shah. Any setting on the camera for moving objects in a dark mode?
Any settings, as in normally phones don't offer settings with dark mode these days. However, I would say for moving objects and dark mode, they won't go very well together. However, you can not use the dark mode and go to the go to pro mode and adjust 2 things there. First, adjust the ISO and then adjust the shutter speed. Shutter speed for the moving object, ISO for having more light from the object towards, having more light sensitivity from that is coming from the object, so that there is no blur from the shutter speed. But it would be a very fine balance there, because when you change shutter speeds, your ISO would be changing to automatically at times, and there is a limit to changing ISO. So not very very much practiced by me for dark mode, so not very sure how they'll go together.
Next question is from Nishant. What should we look into the camera while buying a new phone?
I would say these days, all cameras, all camera phones are very great. Anything that you take from budget smartphone from 5,000-6,000 to like 70,000-80,000. I won't say they are same. The thing that you need to see there is how is the color rendering, like how the colors look when you take a picture. These days, you do have reviews on YouTube. Just make sure that the colors are a bit on a truer side rather than being on a vibrant side. Otherwise, your photos would look very much, doctored or very much unreal. Just make sure that when the picture is clicked by the camera, the colors are a bit natural.
So now the time is for the last question.
Okay.
Uh, it is from Tanush Dudeja. Is Panorama mode in mobile is useful or just an option? Because I never able to get any such photo.
Okay. A great question. Whether it's useful or not, yes, it is useful. Why? It'll help you make great. I would say it will help you make great wallpapers when you go in a hill station or beaches. You can make great wallpapers from it because when you capture the whole horizon, it would be a lot of cuts can be there and for the wallpapers, or you can have it in a continuous screen that for a gamer that is there. How to use it? Normally these days they have a guideline how to pan the camera for the scene, and whenever you go a bit off the camera, whenever you go off the guideline, it would vibrate. Just bring back. It takes a bit of practice. I recently uh, like was able to have a proper panorama, but yeah, it is a very great feature. I do like it, but yeah, I also wanted they should be on DSLR cameras too. On DSLR cameras, panorama is not an option, but yeah, yes, it's a great feature.
Now we have to conclude this section of Q&A. Now it's time for our feedback section where we will like to have a few more questions or feedback from the audience who wants to suggest any improvement or what they like about this section can raise their virtual hand and we will be unmuting them. And for those whose questions are being unanswered, that they can contact with Puneet personally offline.
I'll be typing few answers in the chat too.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think everybody went to click pictures. No worries. Okay, I think Ashish Batra raised hand.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Yeah. So as far as the feedback goes, it was a great session. I learned this Pro mode that you told me about. It's the first time I'm opening it on my mobile, and there's so much to see. That is a good thing, and a lot of new things I got to know. So I just hope that this lockdown overs and I can learn this practically, because I guess taking photography you learn it practically more while doing it or making mistakes. So that was all from my side. Apart from that, it was a good session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we have Naveen K and Tanuj. Ashish, can we unmute Mr. Naveen
Tanuj,
or
uh,
Naveen?
Hello,
Yeah.
Puneet.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah. Good evening.
One question I have.
Yes.
Many a times while we are traveling from train or bus, so we find the surroundings very good. and if you want to take the picture, our normal mobile
I think we lost Mr. Naveen's audio.
Uh, we can have Tanuj over then.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. It was a great session. Actually, I learned a lot because I was thinking that I'm wearing a T-shirt which is matching with the background. So I learned this. I'll take care of it. Take care of this, and this is amazing thing. Like thinking of background, and I'm able to recognize now what is subject and what is background, because earlier I was not able to recognize this as well. So good. It was a good session. Yes. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Can I have a thank you thing? Thank you everybody for listening, and thank you for joining in. In case you want to know more, or
Onkar has a question, I guess, or a feedback.
yeah, sure. Amit?
She was raising the hand, so I sorry interrupted you.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, sure, we can have the feedback.
इतनी तो होनी चाहिए 8 लाख से कम होनी चाहिए वरना फिर उनकी किस बात की जरूरत अपन 6 लाख
Sorry. Okay, no worries. I am thankful for my family to also be there on this call because the home I am sitting in it's theirs, not mine. Yeah.
So I think that's all for this session. It was great session, Puneet, and we would like to hear more from you. And thank you everyone for joining this session. And let's connect another time on the same day, same time. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay.